Yo, love, peace, and power, family. We are back at it. We have, been on a cool little journey. If you're just joining us, take your time and go back and see, some of the drop. It's not so much linear. I don't want you to feel like that. I'm saying? You should be able to get something out of each and every one of these drops, whether it's a short drop, a long drop, whatever it is, health drop, science drop. Lately, we just been on this Indigenous drop. I got a lot more. I'm about to be dropping a lot of our, radio shows, a lot of the guests and all that kind of stuff to keep you involved in the artist, in the radio itself. I don't want to lose focus of my artists, my producers out there. But it is what it is. You're seeing this frequency build right before your eyes. You're a part of it. If you're here, it's because you must be here. I want you here. You want to be here. We're not over here arguing about this and this or debating about that. We're just putting a couple things together as this platform continues to, come together. But, more than anything, we want immediate answers, right? We want immediate solutions. But the best thing we can do is, know who we are. By knowing who we are, we'll know, I truly believe, which way to go. And I'm saying not with the titles of this and the titles of that, but we got to dig through all that stuff. Decipher, sepher these titles, sepher through them, drop the boundaries to understand that, okay, we're indigenous. Okay, this is what we are. And the main focus that we are really coming to understand is that any history about America is new because they just, came to America not too long ago. So whatever's in our history books, whatever's being taught in history class, you got to think, how would they know? How would those writing history know? The stories that we're reading and being taught to us as our history, how would they know who you are? Would they really know? And we're going to get through this because I got a document that, I definitely want to, bring out there. I'll attach it. I got the PDF, which is dope. And I can't wait, man. We got some good stuff to dig into. But again, how would they know who you are if they just got over here and started writing and saying, these are my inquiries into where these people came from. Here's who I think they might be, and here's who I think they might be. But we got some juice, like I said, to get into. Because if people don't know who you are, my Negro people don't know who you are. I know. When you get into this, you'll see what I'm saying. They don't truly connect you to anywhere. Like that. It's like they really don't know. They really, really don't know. All they can do is connect us to their fables and then try to decipher through the fables and the quiche or cliche records, here of the indigenous tribes here, the so-called Aztecs and so-called Olmecs, But, as they dig and dig and dig, they're still really trying to figure this out. All they knew was that the Holy City was here. So Columbus wrote that out and said, hey, I'm coming to seize the Holy City in Mount Zion. Again, go back and look at that documentation. But I want to give some love right quick to some cats that, I just really feel this community coming together at the right time. And again, we're in peril time. So when I talk about building our network and our platform here, I'm not just talking about some superstar radio station and doing the whole 432 hertz. And initially I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna bring this frequency to our people in music. I'm gonna bring 432 hertz frequency to hip hop, to R&B, to our culture, to get us off of this McDonald's frequency. That's as far as I really thought through as my own convictions and study was increasing. So you're kind of finding me at a time when I'm kind of being hit smack dab in the middle of like, yo, I want to just, go full on this way, but I can't do anything with this other than, read what I'm reading. I've been sort of taken over in a sense, on this particular journey. And so the whole platform is now coming with me on this journey. And if you're artists, you this and this, we're still featuring, we're still doing, check out the Artist Lounge. It's all about what I'm saying, us coming together, really what this is being on target. I believe this frequency, man, is the organic frequency of our indigenous, you know what I'm saying, natural organic selves that we've been hijacked and put into another frequency called 440 hertz, which is 8 octaves, below, or above, excuse me. But that 8 hertz makes all the difference. It takes you out of harmony just like that. It makes you static. It makes you exist in a static frequency. You know what I'm saying? In a static grid. And as we're getting out of this static grid and researching frequencies like 432, check out the, frequency drop. Just check out all that stuff, because the documentation is there for you to see every single time that they purposely voted to take on this particular 440 hertz frequency, all the way back to the Nazi days. And before that, Rockefellers is all that stuff. You always go back to the Rothschilds and all that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the same time period, the 40s and 30s. That's when we got switched. Now that we can, slowly tune ourselves at least off of that, now this stuff is starting to really kind of swirl around and come together, and we're opening our eyes and we're like, whoa, it was right here the whole time. It don't matter if you're here or there, but if you think you're there, you'll never be here. If you think you're spinning, you'll never be still. Everything is opposite. Everything is flip-flop in a real way. But again, let's give some love, man, to just some of the community. You know what I'm saying? I don't call them, anything other than brothers. I think we're all understanding certain things at the same time, which is dope. And I appreciate your contribution, man. Harem Art, hey, man. Uppercut, you know what I'm saying? Heavyweight drop, man. You know what I'm saying? With the Anasazi, I mean, beautiful. Pueblos and the Utah, Colorado connection, and, New Mexico, Arizona, all that being, you know what I'm saying, Aslan, and what, I'm reading your comment here. You say Tula is a great city in Mexico. We were talking about that in relation to the book I was reading in that video, the Cachiquels, the Annals of the Cachiquels. So yeah, and I just hit you back. It's another source that I'm about to might kick today. It says that Toulon, actually the one I am kicking today, says that Toulon's is associated with Asiatic Atlantis. And now we're going to get into this Atlantis, the folklore of it, but really the skinny of it. We got to be able to separate the skinny and the folklore and see where the babies are to connect our history, because again, we are folklore to them. The sooner we realize that, the better we'll be able to orient ourselves. We are folklore to them. This place that we exist in, this place that we're from, our patriarchs, all the stuff that we talk about, and people say, oh, that don't exist, and your guy's gonna crack the sky. Yeah, that's we're folklore to them. But everybody's still interested, like, well, let me hear more about that sky cracking god of yours. Like they can't leave the infatuation of it, because but when we research our history here, you see that they were calling, on a creator. The Mayans, the Aztecs. It wasn't just the guys and this and the guys of that and the guys. Yeah, later, all that stuff got hijacked by other energies and entities and stuff like that. But, this is an ancient understanding that there is a creator. It's not some white man that came to America and established the creator. They came to America with Christ and a cross. And that's true. Once you realize you were here already, then that stuff, came on you. So yeah, man, Harem Art, love you, King, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep it pushing, man. I'm looking for something. Oh, I just got some type of tissue nearby when it's cold in LA. Cold and dusty. You got to deal with it. You got to deal with me. I would, try to go inside, but then I got to wake up like 4 kids just to try to get this thing situated. We're on top of each other, man. So I don't have no mansion. You know what I'm saying? We just doing what we do. But, shout out to Chef Candy, my wife that holds my family down. I always got to give my wife love. You know what I'm saying? She always knows, it's about midnight. She's like, all right, I got your favorite hoodie. Yeah, I got your jacket. Everything's already set there. She already knows I'm about to come to the people. So shout out to Chef Candy because she just fed me some, a wonderful meal. She drops it on Instagram. Check us out at 432 The Drop. You can get all of Chef Candy's beautiful recipes. She cooks to the Most High. Everything we're eating, is according to our commandments, our laws, the statutes that we believe in that came from our patriarchs that predate our colonization here. We can find and understand our orientation was already here. So these things I can grasp to the things that we find here, concrete, we can understand all these things coming together right before our eyes, right here on this soil. Again, shout out to Chef Candy. I feel warm and cozy, And yeah, man, like I said, this is my uniform this time of night. But yo, Harem Art, yeah, again, love you, man. And what was it you kicked? Oh yeah, with the sister, I believe, and the whole senses and all that kind of stuff. Again, please don't confound, do it. I'm just coming at you based on just where my spirit is at the time when it is. So on one day I might say, hey man, yeah man, we need to be recognized, and I don't believe that that's gonna stop, Johnny one time from pulling his trigger just as fast, asking them for permission. And that's why I said, we didn't have to ask for no permission or ask to be, counted or discounted for them to take our land, our gold, to rape our women and mutilate our family and, bash our children and rip them apart. Like, what's going on here is real time. It's like one thing is an illusion and the other thing is real time. And real time to me is just that, when enough is enough, it's enough. The only thing is, just like, Lex Will always kicks, man, is that it's not about using our energy to try to fight them, because we understand what we're dealing with. We understand the type of, horrifying technologies that we're dealing with. So all we can do is say, all right, when enough is enough, all we can do is say, all right, where are we going? Because we got to get out of these cities. We got to get off these zip codes. You can't ask your oppressor to do anything just so you can be, that's going to put you in a better place in his kingdom while we decide to do what we got to do. Maybe. I just don't think we got, that much time. And that's just my own person. I just don't think we got enough time. By the time we push through this and get to this step, to get to that step, so that we're better off for that step, I think we're planning ahead, which is cool, but I just don't see any other ahead other than us really making a decision quickly to not so much store food and water in our house, but like Lex says, man, get your camping gear, get your gear to, walk and go wherever we got to gather and go and walk to. But it won't be until that time that you really realize that you're in captivity, when you as a group, as a people, try to leave the cities, and you realize, or they realize, no, we need you to stay here because you are the workforce, you are the entertainment, you are everything this system needs. But you decide to leave out of it and go to whatever forest, desert, whatever you want to go to. We're near, I'm on the West Coast, so Utah is near me. But, whatever it is, I don't know. These are things we don't know, but we need to think on these levels. And I think we're at the, the very beginning of thinking on that level. But I don't dismiss being counted, and I don't dismiss those things as well. I do see value in them, and I want you to know that I do see value. But I can't jump on a wave that I'm just not feeling. I can't surf that wave, but I do understand it. So yo, shout out to Harem Art, and shout out to Trip D's, man. Just all the nice, comments, man. Of course, man. Hood to Hood 1000, Hot Ski the Great. Yo, shout out to Michael Thompson, Copper Warrior. This king's been kicking in Mexican periods and haplo groups, man. Everything you're doing, man. So I enjoy it, man. I just put my earphones on and kick it. I put it on. My kids be like, "Daddy, is that you?" "No, that's not you." "Oh, that's your friend." So when they see you guys up. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you got to do the stuff as a family, or else you start separating for your family because you don't, you know. So, you know, my kids are 6 years old, you know, digging on it, man. So, you know, but they always see you guys and they recognize you guys as family, you know what I'm saying, as friends. You know what I'm saying? So keep doing what you're doing because you are part of our family. We're all in this frequency. You have the drop. Drop Nation is us. Those that got the drop, not the one drop rule separating us. But if you notice, all it took was one drop. All it took was one drop. Yo, so yo, shout out to Michael Thompson, Copper Warrior. Shout out to the real man, Viva Afro Mexicans. All right, man. All right, brother. Okay. Shout out to Tori, Elise or Ellis. You know, she kicks a flat drop. I get it, Queen. She said it's so frustrating. You know, I've had people, you know, I have told people the truth, and this in particular boils my blood. The flat Earth, never being to space, lies about the known world and all this kind of stuff. So she's frustrated. I get it, man, because, you know, like I said, you know, just like Inception, as soon as you're off that frequency, you know, that energy starts turning against you. They sense that you're different. Not just that your idea is different, but your energy starts like it's an energy separation. Once you stop spinning, your energy is on a different thing. I'm not making that up. Once you stop psychologically, consciously thinking you're on a ball spinning and spinning at over 1,000 miles per hour, once you just stop thinking like that for a second and say, what if I'm not? Something kicks up in your energy right there. You get firm, you get fixed, you get immovable. You get back to reality real fast and be like, where's my land? I'm a nation, right? Why aren't I represented as a nation with land? And why are they grouping me in this conscious circus called black people? When you research and understand what we're about to read right now, yo, they knew that there were different black or dark, you know, nations. Not just nations, but people that were like separate of each other, that went back to each other and maybe some, you know, but these people here that they were finding here, they did not associate automatically with the other black people that they knew about in what they called the old world. And that's not separating us and this and this. I'm saying they grouped it and then called us Negroes and African American to get us off the land from the riches that are the Americas. Imagine the wealth. Just so that they can say that this place is vacant. Because these people have no titles. This is the place of folklore. This is where the far west is. This is where their folklore of Hyperborea and Atlantis and, you know, Lemuria and all that kind of stuff. So that's all really one big land piece. And there's maps that show Lemuria on one side of America, Atlantis on the other side of America, and on this side connecting it would be Africa. It would connect. Okay? So once they got over these lands to get to the far west, but this part was sunk and this part was sunk, and then the Atlantic Ocean became unnavigable. You know, I mean, these crazy trips. But look, before they could navigate, then they said they couldn't navigate all of a sudden because there was something in the ocean at that point, right? So now these waters are rough. Before the waters were so rough, they could navigate. Things were together, right? So we're going to get into it. But again, shout out to Terry Ellis. You know, got me on that flat drop, but I brought it back home. Shout out to my sister V. Patra. Always got beautiful, sweet energy you bring, man. So I appreciate you sharing this with the family and everything that you're doing. We are one. We are one. So I appreciate that. Yeah, you know, I don't want to go too crazy. Brian Clark, shout out to you again, man. And yeah, man, anytime, man, because you got that drop, that flat drop all day. Smooth's perspective. Keep it up, King. Keep it up. Keep it up. I mean, this is what's happening right now. Everybody's being inspired by each other. So you know, I've been doing this forever. You know what I'm saying? I've been away from cameras and all this stuff. I've been I got on Facebook for like a few months, and then they started, asking me for government identification. So I said, I gotta go. If YouTube starts asking me for government identification, I'll be off this too. So this drop, gets smondered pretty quickly. So get it while you can. Download whatever you can. And check out cats like, Lex Will, Let Us Find the Truth. Michael Thompson, Copper Warrior. The original American. Tyrone Street. I always tell them that. I know there's a lot of Smooth Perspective. Harem Art. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of cats, man. But, that's a good group right there that can really, 1,000 go ahead. You know what I'm saying? So check that. Check these kings. These men are raising up, and these sisters are raising up too. You know what I mean? And they come in and they understand it, man, that they have a connection to this soil. And they're not going to abandon it just, so that to make everybody happy and say Africa, Africa, Africa. When you talk about the Americas and abandoning it, when you understand these people are you, how do you abandon it? How do you teach people to abandon what's here? Just because of some, philosophy of not being indigenous to the earth, to the Western Hemisphere and Eastern Hemisphere. Oh, because everything had to start here and go here and go here because it had to, because Darwin kicked it, because science says so. We have to piece this together and understand. It ain't just what they say. We got to understand the actions. And when they start writing all these inquiries and saying that these people are like, we have to try to figure out and how exhaustive the work would be to figure out who these people are over here when they just came from there, then you got to really just take a step back and stop the judgments and say, okay, so why are they tripping? Why are they tripping? If these are the same people, if everybody's Africans, Americans, all the same thing. If we all just Negroes. Or are we? All right, so I'm going to start reading now. And what I'm about to kick is legit. And, let's go. All right. So, I'm going to try to do this, Michael Thompson, Copper Warrior style, man. I'm going to try to just kick a little bit at a time. I've already taken 20 minutes, giving some sweet hellos. And so now, I'm going to try to kick it in like 10-minute increments of... All I'm going to do today is the preface so that we can get the perspective, and I'll give you a little teaser up ahead into kind of some understandings that we might need to look closer at as well. But wherever we go, remember, we're always anchored with the Creator. We know that we are the seeds and the energy that comes from the, the infinite. The one frequency. Hey ya, the energy. We are the actual seed of that. So we have to break it down simplest into energy, frequency, vibration. So let's just think of it in terms of energy, and the energy that we connect to from the source directly, not hijacked through any other guides and anything else, but directly to our connection, our Creator who carved us out with his Ruach, filled our energy up, set the timer to wake up like fresh kernels, at the right time. So that's what we're doing. We're just popping up like popcorn. Pop, 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 pop. They don't have time to try to shut me and then shut up everybody. They do that, it'll be 1,000 more me's just like that. So all they can do is let me rock, because I'm on divine time. Divine time. All right, so let's get into it. And I love all y'all. Trill spill. You know what I'm saying? I'm really dedicated to this. I can't do nothing but think about this because it's all happening right before our eyes. I'm not ahead of you. You know what I'm saying? You keep adding more to this drop, and I'm just adding it to that. And then it will lead me somewhere. So I didn't mean to really stumble on this. I just had this tab open. You see my laptop. I got a bunch of tabs. I know a lot of cats do. I always try to get rid of them, and I always just try to bookmark. And this is another series of tabs come in. But I had this joint up for a minute. I thought I lost it, and then it came back up somehow. And I just started researching it today, looking into it. I said, I got to look a little further. And I don't even know who who dropped this drop. You know what I'm saying? So whoever you are, thank you. But hey, man, let's get into it. This is called The American Nations, or Outlines of Their General History, Ancient and Modern, including the whole history of the earth and mankind in the Western Hemisphere, the philosophy of American history, the annals, traditions, civilizations, languages of all the American nations, tribes, empires, and states. This is in 1836. I'm really going to try not to go crazy because I know I want to get through this because you know me. I don't have to really read nothing else to you. I just read the title and you can understand. It just, you know what I'm saying? If you're listening, it just validated everything I just said for the last 20 minutes. And that, what the heck is so special here? When you understand the Maya, the Aztec, are you know, saying, and the Olmecs, that you know what they look like. They look like black people. So you want to use black? Okay. I don't like that though, because it's trickery. It's trickery. It's an adjective. It cannot define you. You have to think outside the illusion, and that goes. Lex Will said something real cold. I think in a newer old video, he said, "Man, y'all defeated white supremacy when you were called colored." Because the rainbow doesn't exist on the Masonic checkerboard. You had color. Now we're black. And it should be black power. Whose power? What power? We have one power. And it's not black. We have one power, one energy, one frequency, and it's not black. So wake up from delusion. I say peace, and I say power. I say love. I say wake up. You're from here. You're indigenous to the one body of earth. And there's order here. And we're here to reestablish and reorient our understanding, ourselves. I'll read the title again. The Ancient Nations, the American Nations, or Outlines of Their General History, Ancient and Modern, including the whole history of the earth and mankind in the Western Hemisphere, the philosophy of the American history, the annals, traditions, civilizations, languages of all the American nations, tribes, empires, and states. This is in 1836. I'll just let you kind of dig on the title for yourself, in case you just want to just think about it. Why are they writing all this if they found a bunch of Africans over here, right? And again, Africa, African, all this kind of stuff. These are fictitious titles. Those people understand their tribes. They understand their history. And that is a misnomer for them. And it's honestly, it's disrespectful. They only, you know what I'm saying, get down with it because it's our brainwash, you know what I'm saying? But that's not their history. They know who their fathers are. They know, you know what I'm saying, what was called Libya, what was called Ethiopia. They understand that they are people. They understand when it gets down to it, each name is named after a person, a lineage, a seed, and that any black person can't just go stumble on anybody's land with a 1,000-person tribe and say, "Hey, black person, hey, we're indigenous everywhere. I'm going to take my people and live here." Is that how it rocked? Could you take your 1,000-person tribe anywhere, black man? Or was there order? Did you have a lot? Did you have inheritance based on your fathers? Who was in Egypt before the Egyptians? Another dark group of people. So everyone migrated with divine right. They were given order to be there. So they were. And when the Aztecs and the Mayans migrated here, it was divine. They were led. They were given order to come back to the land that was promised as an inheritance to Abraham. And even before him. All right. So this is written by Constantine Samuel Rafaneski. And I'll put this information up so you can dig on it. I'll attach a link. Should be, but yeah, that's the drop on it. I believe he's a Jesuit. 1836. I believe so. And let's just get down to the preface. But I'll give you this document, so read it from top to bottom. Even before the preface has some drop in it, but I kind of just want to get into it so bad. All right. So this originally, you know what I'm saying, was, you know, it came out, he was circulating it. I think he was selling it for like $1 back in 1800s, you know, it was $1, you know, to get a copy of this, and it included maps and all kinds of stuff, you know, plans of monuments. It says a little bit about the author. He said he's a professor of historical and natural sciences, member of many learned societies in Paris, Bordeaux, Brussels, Bonn, Vienna, Zurich, Naples in Europe, Philadelphia, New York, Cincinnati, Lexington, Nashville in America, the American Antiquarian Society. Okay. It says all, this is just, I haven't even got to the preface yet. This is leading to the preface. All we have hitherto learnt, all we have hereby learnt, respecting the ancient state of the natives of the new continent, is nothing in comparison to the light that will be one day thrown on this subject. He's in 1836 saying, we've been able to gather some stuff about these people. This is 1836, guys. Hey, guys, this is 1836. And they're saying we really kind of don't know anything. Now, we got invaded, 1500, 1519, I think, in Mexico, 1492. Our brothers in Haiti. Us in Haiti, should I say. So, and then all that time, they're just slaughtering us, right? First, they're trying to win a guerrilla warfare. But it didn't really go down like they wanted it to, right? Because we kept fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. We never surrendered. It became more and more guerrilla warfare. I mean, how they went to Vietnam and they got a taste of guerrilla warfare. Did they ever win Vietnam? Did they ever win Afghanistan or Iraq or anything else? No, because of guerrilla warfare. It's very difficult to defeat a people on their own soil when they're not in battle formation coming at you like that, like some idiots, like, come kill us. They everywhere. We everywhere. So they keep trying to kill us. They still killing us. This is cowboy and Indians. You see the original sheriff badges? They have Indians on them. Because the original, you know what I'm saying? That was their job, to catch Indians. Paddy wagons, all that. Shout out to Tyrone Street. That was catching Indians. They just stopped calling us Indians. And now we call ourselves African Americans. We've been fighting this war. We never surrendered. And it's ongoing. It will never stop because they're going to keep exterminating us. There's nothing we can do. They already took our land. They took everything else, right? All we're doing is trying to catch up. This is reality, people. This is 1836. I'm not talking about BC. Less than 200 years ago, they're like, all we have hitherto learnt, respecting the ancient state of natives of the new continent, is nothing in comparison to the light that will one day be thrown on this subject. If we succeed in bringing together the materials now scattered over both worlds, if we succeed in bringing together the materials now scattered over both worlds that have survived the ages of ignorance and barbarism. So he's saying, like, the stuff that has survived the barbaric times of being destroyed, maybe we can put together. These are one of those kind of people that are scholars and are like, this is not the guy that's burning your books. I put it like that. He's not your friend. But, you know what I'm saying? He's not the one burning your books. So he's going to lie to you. I'm going to read his document, but I'm not saying it's fact, though. I mean, he's going to lie to you. But we got to get the babies out the bathwater. And I think there's quite a few babies in this bathwater. So yeah, in 1836, they didn't know who you were. So how the hell do they know who you are right now? Did they figure it out? He said one day. What did he say? All we have hitherto learnt respecting the ancient state of the natives of the new continent is nothing in comparison to the light that will one day, that will be one day thrown on this subject. One day we'll have enough light to understand who these people really are. But not now, not in 1836. They still don't know. So they put you and they grouped you with people that got the same skin complexion and the, you know what I'm saying, but the customs are way different, or just the, you know what I'm saying, something's off. And then you say, well, how come you didn't come get me, brother? How come y'all ain't asking for reparations? We your family. We your family. And again, I got no hate towards any of my melanated brothers on this plane, any of my indigenous family on this plane. I'm just using this example because, you know, we are together in this. But at the same time, we need to understand history and be true. That they came here and it was what it was, man. It's been tribal war. Tribal war. You know, some are brought into secret groups of understanding and they're told like, yo, this is yours, your tribal enemy. And here's how we need to help you. And you can be great with us, but turn on these Israelites. Turn on these Aztecs because they turned on you. Turn on these Mayans because they turned on you. And you're just thinking you black and you African American and you got people leading you and they know who they are. You just don't know who you are. Psychology. All we have hitherto learnt respecting the ancient state of the natives of the new continent is nothing in comparison to the light that will one day be thrown on this subject if we succeed in bringing together the materials now scattered over both worlds that have survived the ages of ignorance and barbarism. Let's get it. 1836. I just want you to read this quickly. You know what I mean? And again, pull it up because if you're looking at this, it's attached. You know what I mean? So pull it up, man. Pull it up. You see where it says, entered according to Act of Congress. So what I'm reading here, man, this ain't play. They had to enter it into the, you know what I'm saying, the Act of Congress in the year 1836. In the clerk's office of the District Court for the Eastern District of the state of Pennsylvania. This ain't no just, you know what I mean? This is in Congress. Congress has this document. And this is a letter from the author specifically to the Society of Geography of Paris. I haven't even got to the preface yet. I don't know if I even have time to get through all that. I'm going to try. But we're on a journey, so I think this adds a lot to what we're talking about, especially when we understand what they're talking about. He says, to the Society of Geography of Paris, gentlemen, to you I dedicate this work, result of long and wary researches. This homage is due to the public approbation you gave to Ray First analogous labor, Ray memoirs or series of researches on the origin of mankind, which I endeavored to trace philologically to the center of Asia. So his endeavor, he didn't say I succeeded in this endeavor. He just says, like a lot of them said, we think that we can trace these people to Central Asia, which I guess, you know, Middle East, I guess all that might be Central Asia. I don't know, but Central Asia. So that's why, you know, we get the Asiatics and stuff, and that's why they're using these terms, Asiatics, because they believe they can trace us to Central Asia. But let's see. You know, you got a lot of drop, especially stuff that Lex is kicking, Brother Lex Will's kicking with the, you know, the Z people, and he believes that that was Joshua, and these people are in Asia, Central Asia, crossing over. Now they're coming, you know, I believe over the Bering Strait, you know, down, all the way down to Utah, And, now they're slicing and dicing. So these same Z people might be the same Mayans and Aztecs. But I like where you're going with it. Let's go. So, which I endeavor to trace philologically to the center of Asia, I had announced long ago this history of the Americans, the inhabitants of a whole hemisphere. These people, he's saying, they inhabit a whole hemisphere. You see, you got the other hemisphere, right? And you got Asia, you know what I mean? You got Europe, Africa. Really, all that is Asia and Africa. You know what I'm saying? So, we understand that we are indigenous to that whole area too. And he's looking at America the same way. And he's like, these people are indigenous to this whole Western hemisphere. I had quoted in my other works, I now offer the outlines of it under your auspices. You have furnished the example of cultivating, along with the geography, all the auxiliary and connected sciences which may enlighten it, particularly the ancient and modern ethnography with philology, which is actually a study of languages, right? So philology, one of its bases. You will see that I have followed this practice in availing myself of all the sciences to enlighten the history of mankind, the ethnography and annals of nations, above all philology with chronology and geography. Sound like Don King. Something Don King would say. You know what I'm saying? The ethnography and annals of nations, above all philology with chronology and geography. All right. The origins and annals of the black nations. Now, he says the origins and annals of the black nations and the American nations were two subjects quite obscure and neglected. Now, you might ask, why is what's he doing? He says black nations and American nations. So he must be talking about what? Is he talking about Africans and Americans? Is he talking about, why is he? And then I have to remind you, everything we're reading, everything we're doing. Let's read this again. Let's read this again. Here's the title. Okay, here's the title. Here's what we're talking about. So we're not getting confused and bouncing around. The American nations, or outlines of their general history, ancient and modern, including the whole history of the earth and mankind in the Western Hemisphere. And the philosophy of American history, the annals, traditions, civilizations, languages of all the American tribes, nations, empires, and states. So, it appears to me that he's making a distinction of dark races in America, not necessarily the whole earth, but I believe he's making it specific to the Western Hemisphere, and so when he says the origins and annals of the black nations and American nations, I believe he's still he's labeling nations black and he's labeling them American. You know what I'm saying? The American might be the ones that he's considering from there, and the other ones might be, those that maybe had crossed over. I don't know. But maybe he's talking about everybody. But this is just my take on it. And the American nations were two subjects quite obscure and neglected. So he's saying that these two subjects are quite neglected. So if he's talking about Africa, when he says black nations and American nations, or so-called Africa, has that, has that subject of Egypt, or that subject of, the black nations that they knew about, the black nations that they were familiar with, to where they thought that was the whole world of black people. It was a folklore to them, this theory, this story of, some type of traumatic event in the past and the flood and how that connected with the sinking of his land, some type of land. And beyond that, there was some other people, and who, these people were all this angelic stuff going on, you know what I'm saying? So all this power. So we're going to read about it. We're going to figure this out. How does this come together? Because could they be talking about the old world when they say the origins of and annals of the black nations and of the American nations were two subjects quite obscure and neglected? Or the least known? So this is the least known we're talking about. Not what they knew, but what they didn't know of the history of mankind. Nobody has undertaken as yet the history of the Negro nations. A labor so difficult and luckless as to be despised. It is a relentless effort to put together who you are. The Negro nations. Those that they are calling, you know what I'm saying, the nations that are here. The indigenous nations of the Western Hemisphere. According to that, who they are calling Negro. Nobody has undertaken as yet the history of the Negro nations. A labor so difficult and luckless as to be despised. My memoirs on this despised race. Why is he calling you a despised race? What history could you have that would make you despised? We'll get into that later, but I think you know. But my memoirs on this despised race may perhaps furnish the basis of such history. All the histories of America are mere fragments or dreams. This is 1836. And this acclaimed scholar who's a part of all these major academic societies, who has this thing printed or put in Congress, is saying, my memoirs on this despised race, the Negroes, may perhaps furnish the basis of such history. All the histories of America are mere fragments and dreams. We really don't know. In 1836, it's only a fragment or a dream. In 1836, he's putting this in Congress, and it's only a fragment of a dream. He's trying to put it together. Who are you? I'm asking you, who are you? That you're merely fragments of dreams to these people. Who are you? This is what we're suffering, right? So, and this is why I've been putting so much time into understanding this drop. And again, I'll get back to the music. I'll get back to, pumping that out, and, we're getting our live stuff together. But my mind has been into this because I'm like, they really, really don't know. But how would they know if they didn't know about this place? So how would they know who you are? How would they know your history? And then they came over here, started warring and slaughtering people. So unless they had a nice relationship with you, they can maybe get some of your secrets. But even if they did, would our people tell them our secrets and really what's popping? Will we really give them the drop? We'll give them some drop. We taught them how to farm, taught them some agriculture, and they slaughtered us and took everything else. Only left the children. And I'm a descendant. You're a descendant of the children. Our parents were slaughtered. We were sold around or escaped or did whatever the case, or did whatever we had to do. You know what I'm saying? We are the descendants of those that had to do that. You know what I'm saying? So he's saying, look, man, my memoirs on this despised race may perhaps furnish the basis of such history. All the histories of America are mere fragments or dreams. I have perceived the possibility and necessity to write a general and faithful history of this hemisphere. He's going to try. I'll try. It's 1836. We don't know anything about these Negroes. We don't know where they come from. I can only say they may come from Central Asia, but I really can't connect them all the way. How do you do that in Congress and then fast forward and call us African Americans? How How are we mere fragments or dreams in Congress in 1836, but we're African Americans. We're blacks, Negros. What happened in the last 150 years that gave them the drop to call us African Americans? You know how insulting that is when they're inquiring in the Boston Society. They're inquiring, you know what I'm saying, in Cambridge. They're inquiring. This thing is, man, let me skip down. Stop playing with you guys. This particular facsimile had to be dug out. Look at the bottom of the page, from the University of California in Berkeley. Okay? All right, stamp. This was put there in 95. I mean, all these stamps, different dates. So don't let these people try to fool you, acting like they know who you are. Like you shouldn't be researching your history, because it's, the minute you stand up, the minute you know who you are, the entire game falls apart, because everybody benefits off of you being stupid. Everybody comes to America, even dark race people come to America, and they benefit off of white supremacy. They benefit off the fact that we are down. And there's more opportunities for everybody in this system. So other dark races tend to get ahead from the people that are here already. The aboriginals, the indigenous people here. More opportunities have been created even for them because of white supremacy. So it doesn't benefit anybody, even dark race people, for you to wake up and claim what's yours. Because everybody got to bounce off your land. Everybody got to recognize where they're at. They know they're not home. Everybody knows they're not home. The only people that know they're home are the people being subjugated. The people in the 1452 Papal Bull, dumb diverses. Subjugate the Saracens and pagans and enemies of Christ into perpetual servitude, and take all their cities and duchies and principalities, you know. Read it. Research it. I already put it out there. Look it up. All right, so let's go. Preface. Now I can begin the preface. I'm almost an hour in. I hope this video don't cut out, so I'll try to do what I can. I'm definitely not going to get through the whole preface, so this is just part one, you know what I'm saying? And we'll continue. We'll be patient. I said, I'm going to make a 10-minute video. It's going to be, I'm already an hour in. All right. So, let's go. In venturing to open a new path in historical researches on the earth and mankind, it is incumbent on the bold pioneer to state his views, or at least furnish adequate reasons for deviating so far from the usual track. So he's going to go to another place. While every science and branch of knowledge is improving and has with rapid strides made continual advances for 50 years past or more, it is the noble muse of history to be kept stationary forever by compilers and classical plotters, and for America by the foes of the ancient and modern nations of a whole hemisphere. No, it is time to improve history as everything else, to seek the truth and tell it. All right, so he's a truth teller. All right, so as the human mind is yet more swayed by authorities than genius or wisdom, high authorities will be given instead of long explanations. Ever since the time of Juvenal, it has been an ungrateful task to write historical truth. Men often prefer to be amused, deceived, or helped into strife than to be instructed or receive sketches of former times. And that's true today. You got people saying today, you know what I'm saying? I heard, watching some camp, you know what I'm saying, do their thing, and some, you know what I'm saying, white lady, you know what I'm saying, Caucasian lady yelled at him. He said, why are you bringing up all the past? We should move forward. That's their slogan, right? Move forward. Don't ruffle things up. You're a race baiter. You're ruffling it up because they know something's coming, and they don't want it to be hastened. Why not just move forward? Lady, if we just move forward, we don't got our kingdom. If we just forget about the fact that you snatched it and move forward, who does that benefit? Me or you? All this forgive and forget stuff. See, our Tanakh, it's eye for an eye. You don't get away with nothing like that. You don't just forgive and forget. You only tell people to forgive and forget when you slap them in the back of the head. But if you were the one who got slapped in the back of the head, I want to see you forgive and forget. You'll turn red and turn around and want to fight somebody. But I say, stop. It's in the past. As the human mind is yet more swayed by authorities than genius or wisdom, high authorities will be given instead of long explanations ever since the time of Juvenile. It has been an ungrateful task to write historical truth. Men often prefer to be amused, deceived, or helped in strife than to be instructed or receive sketches of former times. Yet there is always a secret delight in viewing faithful pictures of ages past of our ancestors on earth and our predecessors on the soil of our homes, or where we spend the scenes of our own lives. The worthies who have been taken for models or guides in this arduous undertaking are Solomon, Moses, Job. Then they say St. Paul, St. Augustine, Plato. So now they get into their own, their own side. So notice he start with Solomon, Moses, Job, and then transition to St. Paul, St. Augustine, Plato, Nebru, something like that, Humboldt, Malcolm, Gabian. So he started listing all his people. And he says, from God comes wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And that's Solomon. So he starts going into quoting some people. I'm going to skip ahead. This is actually interesting right here. All right, excuse me. Getting mighty nippy. It's been about an hour, so I'm going to get some water. Try to get through it. Oh. I know one of my kids are going to wake up real soon. Want to play. And I'm going to have to say go back to bed. You are tripping. All right. So it says the Hebrew philosophy divided the world into two hemispheres. The upper was Shamayim, the heavens. The lower was Sheol. But Sheol, or inferior, was the place of bad souls, and Rephaim, the true Sheol, was America, or the southern hemisphere. Now he's quoting from the Jesuit Sanitius. His name is Sanitius, Jesuit Sanitius. Or the Jesuit Sanitius. That was their viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? So they had to tell their Pope, those people are in hell. We need to go seize the holy city because they're in hell. And this became their philosophy that, well, according to their, look how they twisted our prophets, our patriarchs. They said, well, according to them, you know what I'm saying, it's supposed to be a two hemispheres divided. Remember the waters from the waters, right? But, one of them's the heavens, which is us, and the other one's the bottom. That's Sheol. That's them. Okay, so we already know that's madness. But look how they put that. They're going to divide the plane of earth into heaven and hell instead of up and below. But that's interesting. The Jesuit Santius thought that Job had spoken of America. So, that's his interpretation of Job. It is very plausible for modern learning to understand better the books of Moses, Orpheus, and those of all ancient nations than the Egyptian, Greek, and Roman commentators, because the intellectual knowledge of languages is improving, and those ancient writers have, by their genius, approximated to us, while removed from the blindness of their ages. And this is a quote from Gabelin, The Primitive World. So he's quoting some people right here. So I'm going to go back so I get to what he's saying. All right, so here we go. It is manifest that there are noble resources for history still remaining, if we will but apply ourselves to diligent inquiry. There are in every climate some scattered fragments of original history, traces of a primitive and universal language. Even America would contribute to this purpose. The more rude, the monuments, the more ancient they may possibly be, whatever that means, and afford greater light on the inquiry. Okay, again, he's quoting Bryant from the mythology conclusion of his work. Okay. And this is interesting right here. This is actually a quote from Humboldt. All right. To accumulate materials without generalizing any idea is a method as sterile in history as the natural philosophy. The geology of America does not differ essentially from that of the old world. So he's saying the geology here is not that much different. He says the strata and the immersion from the waters are not newer. So he's saying that this is just as old as it is over here. So he's saying right there the whole concept of old world, new world is hogwash. The world is one. We know that. It's all the same age. We know that. So why would it be newer there and older here? You know what I'm saying? It's just madness that's their abstraction of our concrete culture. The strata, the emergence from the waters are not newer. Species long extinct have also preceded those now peopling the earth, the waters and the air. So everything seems the same with the ecosystem. The problem of the first population of America is no more the province of history than the question on the origin of plants and animals. You know, so that's, to me, just saying these people are original. When we shall better know the brown, listen, when we shall better know the brown men of Africa. Whoa. So he's talking specifically about Africa. That's interesting because we were just talking about blacks and Negroes and the Negro in America, or the black race and the American race. Remember that? So he could have easily put African then too, or Africa there too. But let's go. Let's go. So, where we at? All right, so when we shall better know the brown men of Africa with those of the north and east of Asia, the American nations will be less insulated. So in other words, when we know even more about, you know what I'm saying, the brown men, he didn't say black men. He said brown men. So when we should know more, when we shall better know the brown men of Africa. Have you ever heard it put that way? So that should ring something. I mean, that's interesting. The brown men of Africa with those of north and east of Asia, the brown people there, the American nations will be less insulated. They have extended from latitude 68 north to 55 south, or 123 degrees of latitude in plains and mountains, assuming various complexions and statures. If Africa has 140 languages, America has still more, resembling in this the Caucasus, Italy, before the Romans, but they are susceptible of classification into families. The multiplicity of languages is a very ancient phenomenon. So he's trying to compare our languages with the Romans and the Caucasus, but it's more madness. So again, we're looking for the babies here. So let's keep reading. All right. So introduction. He said the multiplicity of languages is a very ancient phenomenon. Perhaps those which we call American belong no more to America than to Magyar or Madagascar, I believe, or something like that. Magyar, maybe not. Magyar, and cold, Choud. I don't know those places. He says, or Finn to Europe. Oh, he's saying, okay, belong no more to America than Magyar to cold. So that's the comparison. So, or Finn to Europe. So he's saying that these people migrated at some point in time. So, okay, so it's interesting because first he says, you know, the first population and the indigenous population. Then he talks about the populations migrating in, and you know, so we're trying to see what he's zeroing in on. But we know he's talking about the Negroes, and we know he's talking about the Western Hemisphere people, and he's referring to them in this case as Negroes. Some authors refer to everybody as Negro. Some people refer to Africans as Negroes and to us as Indians. So you got to go case by case. You know what I'm saying? What are they talking about? So we see that he can say African perfectly fine. And when he refers to us, he seems to be talking about the Negroes or the black, you know, whatever you want to call it. He says, if we desire to be fully informed of a nation's history, we must not reject the fables. So now we're going to get into the writings of Moses and different things that they're going to call fables, or the Atlantean history that they're going to call fables as well, or this Indian, you know, quiche, you know, how you would say history that they're going to call fableized as well. You know, so to them, they're going to take all these things and try to figure it out. We must not reject the fables under which the few traces that remain of its origin are concealed. So he's saying the only thing we got to comb through are the fables, because that's where we can find the origin inside of the fables. Now he's putting this in Congress, and now we got our black people, our brothers and sisters waking up today saying, oh, you know what I'm saying, there's, you know, throw out your Bible, all your scriptures, and do it. Man, that means nothing, and that's just whatever. And this, from this perspective, is this guy's looking at us. I don't know who you guys are, and the only thing I got to put together even your identity of who you are is your Bible, is your fable, or is your Torah, or is your Tanakh, whatever you want to call it. I'm saying, is your history that is floating around on this side of the hemisphere that we're on, and the hemisphere that you're on, and it seems to be coinciding. And he's drawing a connection, or else he wouldn't even say, I got something. So he found a connection that he wanted to share. Then we're going to comb through it for the babies. So he says the Chinese often call the king the kingdom, and the nation by the same name. So he's going to use this to say, okay, well, we'll see. But think about that. So the Chinese will call the king the kingdom as the same name. So, you know what I'm saying, if the king's name was Drop, then the nation would be Drop Nation. You know what I'm saying? That's how the Chinese did it. And the nation by the same name. Nay, even also the capital city. So even the capital city would be called Drop. Regis, history of Korea. Korea, Corea, in Duhaldi, China. The cradle of the first seed of mankind was in Asia between latitude 30 and 50, according to his research, which is also the native place of all the domestic animals, fruits, and grains. All right. The Genesis was a compilation of Moses from older annals, some perhaps by Noah himself. So he's actually going through quoting some sources. That's from Mr. Davies, Herder. So you got the doc, so hopefully you're following along. You can look at that stuff. Just the early gods and kings of Greece and Italy were probably tribes. So when you hear a god's name that they're calling a god, it's probably a tribe, is what he's saying. The chiefs and followers being called by the same name. This is true also of various Hercules or wandering heroes, and that is from Dodwell Jamison. So he's kicking that drop. Now I want to scroll down a little bit because he's kind of going to do some more quoting people. And I want to get to his drop. Now, the Ethiopians, Nubians, Egyptians are a peculiar race, perhaps in Africa before the flood. That's Champollion. All right, so we already know the Champollion, you know what I'm saying, some of his history and some of the back and forth about the scholarship of Champollion and the hieroglyphs and all that stuff. All right, so I want to skip ahead because we're still in quote mode, and I want to get to the drop. 1 second, my beautiful family. Okay. This is still a quote, but this is very interesting. I'm right above preface 1 and 1. So if you got the document up, you can kind of freeze that and look ahead, because I'm going to kind of go there and look down. And we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. I'm just trying to get through as much of the preface as I can, because my next drop, I want to go right into chapter 1. I don't even want to play with you guys, but I had to at least bring the foundation for it, so we know what we're reading, we're getting into it. And I'll continue. This will be one of my continuations. I'll try to do one at a time, one book at a time, but I'm not linear, so I'm gonna get other drop. I got some other stuff coming. I'll be dropping this and that, and as well, all the other stuff too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just excited. So I hope you're enjoying this journey, and I appreciate the energy that you guys are bringing to the platform, to what we're doing. It's all about us. So once we have accumulated ourselves, then you know what I'm saying. We'll focus on the other, you know what I'm saying, legs of this thing. You know, the action of this thing. Because it's all about action. Right now we're trying to figure it out. But at the same time, we're getting poisoned. Our food, our water, our air is poisoned. So we got to have a solution, not just read books, but this is going to help orient us. But once we're oriented, what's our solution? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, as of now, and again, you know what I'm saying, I shout out to this king all the time because, you know, you got to have eyes to see. You know what I'm saying? You got to, you know what I'm saying, be able to decipher. You know what I'm saying? And what this king, what Lex Wood has brought, man, from day one, man, has been solid, concrete stuff that you can research yourself. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying, you know, be some cheerleader of anybody. You know what I'm saying? But you got to give respect where respect is due. And I give respect, man, because he's a good brother. You know what I'm saying? I had the pleasure of, you know what I'm saying, having a great, you know, number of conversations, you know what I'm saying? And it's always been positive. It's always been dope. So you got to, if you don't know the man behind the man, you don't really understand. That is what it is. I'm not here to, you know, rah this and rah that. You know what I mean? But I'm here to give credit. I'm here to you know, be grateful. And that Utah drop, the Az land. I mean, how can Utah be the home of the Aztecs and have all these, you know what I'm saying, you know, connections to our, you know, obviously the Aztecs, the Mayans, our Israelite history, our names from Deuteronomy 34, all there. We're linking that. That's a great link. And if you do have to run and get somewhere real quick, if you're nearby, that might be a good place to go because that's holy ground, man. That's serious ground. And they keep you boarded out and away from it. You don't even know what's there. You don't even know what we're talking about. I say Utah, you got like some other mind thing going on. You don't see the lakes and the water and the beautiful terrain and everything that's there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know. But we're talking about solutions. We ain't talking about getting decimated and, you know, going off, you know, to the streets and saying, I got my hammer. I got my hammer. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying not to defend yourself. I'm just saying if you're talking about doing anything, you might want to get out of the cities. And you got to know what's around you. And, you know, hopefully have a good energy there. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's when it hits the fan or before. Because when it's on lockdown and the FEMA stuff and all that stuff starts happening, you can't leave. You're going to wish you was in Utah. You're just going to wish you was in the wilderness. Even if you don't know what's going on there, you got to connect back to this earth and be a tribe again. And you ain't going to do it in these zip codes being poisoned by the air, the water, and the food, constantly lowering your vibration. You got to get back to reality. We're in an illusion right now. This is a corporation. Got to wake up. How can you be a citizen of a corporation? Side note. We'll sidebar that. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to get this last little quote, and that's good. I think we're good. Man, there's more good preface. No, there's a lot of... Oh, we're almost there. We're almost there. Maybe I can get it. Maybe I can get it. I'm going to read real fast. All right, so if I go too fast, I'm sorry. I want to squeeze this before this thing cuts out. I don't got that much memory on my phone, and that's what I'm do this from. All right. So it says, primitive history is under a veil involved in fables, but all ancient fables have historical base, and that's Bailey on Atlantis. All right, excuse me. So Atlantis. That keeps coming up. Anybody researching this, they keep getting mixed back into these fables and what these people thought of Atlantis. And that's why we got to not just dismiss it because they put it on us and introduce to our psyche as fable. We have to say, but we're a fable to them too. So one fable plus two fable. All right. So there has to be connections with those babies in that bathwater. So let's go quick. Before Adam, God created the Dives, or Dives, angels, who had 72 kings, or Soliman. All right, I'm gonna right there in the middle of the page. All right, Suleiman. All right, so I don't know. I'm just gonna read this, and you decipher. Hopefully, we can, extract something out of this. So before Adam created God, before Adam, God created the dives, angels, Deves, angels who had 72 kings or Solomon for 7,000 years, and after them, the Peris, Peris, governed for 2,000 years, and that's from Herbelot, Herbelot, in the Oriental Library. So that's a quote from him. You can look that up. Okay. So he says, I'm skipping down because we're going to get passing some more quotes. So here we go. Man, some good stuff. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So 4 rules of criticism I have taken for guide Isaac Taylor's excellent history of the transmission of ancient books, London, 1827. They may be analyzed as followed from his own summary. If the records of antiquity could be deprived of their authority, we should also be deprived of intelligence, liberty, and religion. 2, dates are of little importance, being so. This is his criteria. So some of us are real astute to this type of scholarship. So I want to this is good. So everything we read after this preface, we know what went into it and how he came to these particular conclusions. So number 2, this is his criteria. So number 2, dates are of little importance, being anciently expressed by letters. They are liable to errors. The Greeks and all Eastern Christians reckoned 5,508 years from Adam to Christ. Okay, that's what they have as their date. Geography. 3, geography and natural facts are open to criticism. 4, wonders, monsters, miracles are not always fabulous, but doubtful. Natural phenomenon is unconnected with omens. May be right. If unconnected with omens. So it says natural phenomenon, if unconnected with omens, may be right. Speeches, number 5, speeches and secret motives do not belong to history. They are ornaments of rhetoric or mere surmises. Number 6, facts are only to be attended to. They become more certain if corroborated by monuments, inscriptions, coins. So he's looking at it, and that's a scientific way. Number 7, the silence of a historian does not invalidate the assertions of others. All right. Number 8, contradictions, exaggerations, prejudices, party spirit, national dislike must be allowed for the arrogance of the Greeks and Chinese, who call barbarians nations as good as they, is shameful and must be noticed, as well as errors arising from hiding defeats. So a lot of these people hid their defeats, and this is what came up in a lot of the debates. The Kemet versus Hebrew stuff, is that Egypt, we know, hid their defeats. And if you hide your defeats, then you can't really put together a story. Then we're over here chasing after our tail. But these people were real. This migration is real. Harem art again, broke that down, even to the Hyksos and all that, So, these are nomadic people regardless, right? So we're connecting these nomadic people, this particular migration, with those that are being called foreigners or nomadic people or Anasazis, enemies, right? This enemies of whatever, because they were slicing and dicing the Canaanites in America. So yeah, they were enemies of the Canaanites, and we had tribal wars. That's not hidden. That's in our books. That's written. You know what I'm saying? It's not a white or black thing. It's a who's your father thing. And when you wake up, it's just the orientation you have to get back to before you can unite again. You're going to have to know who you are again. And then say, yes, my brother, it's all love. It's all good. But as a nation, you got to let us be a nation again. Look at all this effort, put into deceiving us from even these origins, and understanding and connecting the perspective and all that kind of stuff. You got to let us be a tribe again. They've done so much harm to us. Just leave us and let us be a tribe again. That's all we ask. And maybe we have to leave you. All right, so, and we're almost done. Last one. The independent sources of history, besides writers, are remains of literature, chronological documents, and astronomical calculations, natural features of nature and mankind with permanent physical facts, permanent institutions, manners, monuments, languages, and lastly, remote facts may be certain, although a long while elapse, whatever be the consequence, and even if the first evidence may have been erroneously transmitted or not perspicuous. But accumulated evidence ought never to be doubted. So if you got a lot of evidence, bring it on. So we got through the preface. We're now at chapter 1. Look at that. We made it. We made it. And we will pick up chapter 1 next time. Drop Nation. We are dropping the drop. This is, again, a great document. Check it out. The link is right there. Thank you for this journey with me. I like to put bonuses whenever my videos don't cut off. But this is interesting, you know. So we look at this Atlantis stuff. I haven't really looked into it because I'm just dismiss it. I'm triggered to dismiss it, and I'm not triggered to see anything concrete in it because it's been presented that way. So I'm reprogramming myself. But I came here to this site, and I'll attach it. Well, yeah, okay. It's a good, you know, I mean, this is just a basic site about Atlantis. You know. But let's see if we can connect anything from what we know so far. So the island of Atlantis was a mythical rim of the far west. Do you have a connection yet? Are we the Western Hemisphere or the Eastern Hemisphere? Or are we the, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this is the far west, right? You're from here. This is your inheritance. You came back. Abraham came back. Moses came back. They came back to where they knew their inheritance was. Even if he was found in Chaldea, or, you know, that was the migration at that time, and that's not where he was from. He came back home. When the Mayans came back, they said, we came back to our valleys, our mountains. This is home to them. But from when? The island of Atlantis was a mythical rim of the far west, which was sunk beneath the ocean by the gods to punish the people for their immorality. What God is a God that is pushing morals, laws, commandments? Don't kill, don't steal, don't take another man's wife. And one day out the week, man, just fall back and remember who you are and your connection with me, my purpose. One day, just fall back. I didn't say go anywhere or get dressed up. I just say fall back and just tell everybody chill out and just meditate on me for a minute. Be with me for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Just be with us. Be with those that, you know what I'm saying, have been doing this before you. The island of Atlantis was a mythical rim of the far west, which was sunk beneath the ocean by the gods to punish the people, or by the Most High, to punish the people for their immorality. And again, there's a map that I'm going to try to dig up for you that has Atlantis connected in between America and Africa as a connecting piece. And it was sunk. Boom. So now you have waters that are not navigable. You can't navigate it now because something's sunk. Now there's super rough waters, which is why we were lost and called the Lost Tribes, because they couldn't get here. It was a wall. It was a partition. You know what I'm saying? The name Atlanteans was also given to the Greeks, given by the Greeks to the Phoenician colonies. Olmecs, getting it, all right. Along the Barbary coast of North Africa, i.e., around Mount Atlas. Diodorus Siculus describes their Titan mythology in wars with the Libyan Amazon Libyan. That was what they called Africa before, right? So I'm saying Africa connect to Atlantis. You have a wall, you know, the whole Hercules, you know what I'm saying, situation, or the Hannibal thing. There was a wall in West Africa that they said, you know, one of these Plato guys, you know, that you had to get over that wall to get into Atlantis, and then, you know. Okay, so we're trying to put this map together because they didn't give us the map. And if you think they did, you're out of your mind. Would you give your enemies the map? Greeks to Phoenician colonies along the Barbary Coast, North Africa. All right. Plato may have the same nation in mind, since he names the second Atlantean king Negros after a famous Phoenician colony near the Straits of Gibraltar. Other realms proposed by philosophers and writers. All right, so let's get to it. I'm just going to read a little bit of this first little part. All right, check it out. Hopefully you can see it. I know it's small. I'll try. Keep it still. But this will be, you'll have the link there, so pull it up. So this is written from Plato, by Plato, 4th century BC. He says, many great and wonderful deeds are recorded of your state, Athens, in our histories, which is the Egyptians' histories. It says, quote, the Egyptians' histories. But one of them exceeds all the rest in greatness and valor. For these histories tell of a mighty power, Atlantis, which unprovoked made an expedition across the whole of Europe and Asia, and to which your city put an end. So he's saying, you know, however the power in the war happened, that Athens was a part of this thing, and that they put an end to whatever this happened. And we know the Most High put an end to whatever the energies that were at play. They were playing with some high level energies, and they were blaspheming against their own creator with these energies, these fallen entities and everything else, which matches up with the flood, the, you know what I'm saying, deluge, all that. The power. So he's saying that this unprovoked, there was an expedition from the far west, right, against them in Europe and Asia, and to which your city put an end. This power came forth out of the Atlantic Ocean, for in those days the Atlantic was navigable, so you can navigate back then. And there was an island situated in front of the straits, which are by you called the Pillars of Hercules. Look it up. The island was larger than Libya and Asia combined. Libya is Africa, according to Plato. So this island that they found was larger than Libya, than Africa and Asia. Doesn't that make it a continent? So they found a continent, or Atlantis, which was larger than Asia and Africa combined. So did the whole thing get sunk, or did a part of it get sunk, the part that connected Africa to America? That was what we're calling Atlantis. All right, but the whole thing was really part of this whole thing. And this part got sunk, and if this is America, you got Atlantis here, you got Lemuria connected to America, connected to Atlantis, connected to Africa. That's why some maps have it called Lemerica. You got Lemuria, America, Atlantis, and some maps are calling it Lemerica because Atlantis is gone. So now all you got left is Lemuria in Africa, but Lemuria is gone too, right? But it's still Lemerica. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's very interesting, right? So he says that this island, which is really a continent, was larger than Libya and Asia put together, and was the way to other islands, and from these you might pass to the whole of the opposite continent which surrounded the true ocean. So then you can pass through Atlantis to the other, how they put it, the opposite continent. You know what I'm saying? You might pass to the whole of the opposite. So you'll get to the rest of it. I believe that where we're at right now might be the rest of it. Or they're talking about, that's why you got to tune into the flat drop, because according to how they were breaking it down in the 1800s as well, they're putting out there that, you know, the North and the South Pole, you can actually, you know, the land goes on and on. That's why they don't let you go, near the, you know what I'm saying, North and South Pole. Look, it's been an hour and a half. in a chilly night. I'm falling apart, but I'm a soldier. I'm a warrior through this last stretch. All right, so yeah, north, south. You gotta just kind of tear down your whole image. You got to take all that out to really understand how this is really coming together. If the North and South Pole, you know what I'm saying? If this is the North is actually just the center. You know, let's just go with that. South is Antarctica. It's all this, you know what I'm saying? All right. So according to the book of Enoch, you can, there were the ends of the earth and that they connected to the celestial. So you can actually go so far north that you will eventually connect to the celestial, to the stars, which is why Enoch saw the burial grounds of, the prison of the stars. He said, what's this horrible place? These are the stars that trespass, that got out of order. Even the stars got to stay in fixed order, which is why you see the same stars that your ancestors saw, which is why you're not spinning on a ball going 1,000 miles per hour, going through space at 70,000 miles per hour. And you're still seeing the same stars at the same order. You're still able to draw the same designs and the same constellations, whatever, as they drew. We got to get that image out of us so that we can understand the orientation. What they're talking about here is lands that are all a part of one connected surface. There's above and below. All right, so again, America, Lemuria, Atlantis, Africa. Atlantis gets sunk. Lemuria goes. You're only left kind of with this Lemerica part and Africa over here. All right, but these people are indigenous here, and they come from the bloodlines of what was here already. And these people do too, in their own way. Everybody does. You know what I'm saying? That they're trying to figure out all the Asiatics and all this kind of stuff like that. The Egyptians, everybody like that. That's why they're finding them here. They're finding them here. We're all one piece, but we do go back to tribes and bloodlines and seeds. So as we figure that out, then we come back together, right, and say, all right, let's rock this place. But first, let's figure this out. We have to kind of ungroup for a second and then group back. Remember, they came to group us. They're telling us we're all one. If our enemy is telling us we're one, then they're hiding something. So we have to understand that we, are, yes, one, but yet we are many. And we have to get to the nitty-gritty of the many to know really what they're hiding in our history, and that's going to make us even more powerful. So support your brothers and sisters that are on this journey. So hey, this unprovoked power came from the far west. He said the island was bigger than Libya and Asia, and was the way to other islands, and from these you might pass to the whole of the opposite continent, which surrounded the true ocean. For the sea, which is within the Straits of Hercules, is only a harbor, having a narrow entrance, but the other is a real sea, and the surrounding land may be most truly called a boundless continent. So he's calling this land a boundless continent. Why? Because you can go on forever. It's a plane. You can go past the poles, over the ice, keep going, you will eventually run into the stars. Yes, you're on a land. There is a firmament. Whatever this firmament, these stars up here, all these stars, eventually connect to the ground. And you can reach the stars. But do they let you, go through expeditions and journeys past the North Pole? No. If you go to the South Pole too far, if you're not invited, you might not come back. Your shit would definitely not come back. You always got to have a government pass, right? So they keep you in the inner earth. And they put you on the ball spinning so you'll never have your orientation. And you think you know all the land. And in order to find more land, you would have to leave this earth. But all these astronauts do is they fly up and they go across the ice into some more pockets of land. And they go somewhere else, which are other worlds past the ice, which is why you got to check out the flat drop. So he's calling this a boundless continent. Now, in this island of Atlantis, there was a great and wonderful empire which had rule over the whole island and several others, and over parts of the continent. And furthermore, the men of Atlantis had subjected the parts of Libya, Africa, within the columns of Hercules, as far as Alagiptos, Egypt, and of Europe, as far as Terrania, Italy, Italia, Rome, this vast power, gathered into one, endeavored to subdue at a blow our country and yours and the whole of the region within the straits. And then Solon, Solon, your country shone forth in the excellence of her virtue and strength. So now we're talking about Athens came. So this is their story about how Athens came and defeated this far western power. So why are you enemies? You know what I'm saying? Why did the document we're reading call you, you know what I'm saying, this, let's get it, man. All right. He's talking about the task of writing this thing and how it's weary labor. He says, my memoirs on this despised race, all right, may perhaps furnish he's calling you despised. Why are you despised? I said we'll come back to it, right? I promise you that, right? Why are you despised? Why are you despised? I don't know. Let's see. Maybe it's because furthermore the men of Atlantis had subjected the parts of Libya, Africa, within the columns of Hercules as far as Alegyptos, Egypt, and of Europe as far as Terrania in Italy, Rome. This vast power gathered into one, endeavored to subdue at a blow our country, which is, you know, Europe, and he's talking about Greece, and yours, and the whole of the region within the straits, and then Solon, your country, shone forth in the excellence of her virtue and strength among all mankind. She was preeminent in courage and military skill, and was a leader of the Hellenes. All right, Hellenes, which is the Hellenistics and all that kind of stuff, which there's more drop that we're going to get on that later. And when the rest fell off from her, being compelled to stand alone, after having undergone to the very extremity of danger, she defeated and triumphed over the invaders, which were the Atlanteans, the far west people, the brown people, right? Of course, you know, we understand Africa, Libya is our brothers and sisters as well, but they're writing it from their perspective in Europe, so I'm focusing on Europe. And preserved from slavery those who were not yet subjugated, and generously liberated all the rest of us. So is this talking about white people being in slavery? Is this saying that Atlanteans was enslaving white people? And when the rest fell off from her, being compelled to stand alone, after having undergone the very extremity of danger, she defeated and triumphed over the invaders. So these Atlanteans were invaders, and they were triumphed on, they're saying, by these people in Athens. Okay. And preserved from, we know the Most High destroyed it, but they're taking credit for it. And preserved from slavery, they're saying. We were preserved from slavery, them, all right, Plato in them, the Athens people, all right, those who were not yet subjugated, and generously liberated all the rest of us who dwell within the pillars. Huh? Okay. But afterwards there occurred violent earthquakes and floods, and in a simple day and night of misfortune, all your warlike men in a, whoa, here comes the Most High, right? But afterwards there occurred violent earthquakes and floods, and in a single day and night of misfortune, all your warlike men in a body sank into the earth. And the island of Atlantis, in like manner, disappeared in the depths of the sea. Oh, because of you, great warlike Athonians, Greece. Oh, your majesty. Oh, you guys just were so warlike. You defeated your invaders. And by the way, floods and all this other stuff sunk the whole island. So we got help from some supernatural power that decided to destroy its own people because of the blasphemy of the energy that they were going forward within. Disappeared into the depths of the sea, for which reason the sea in those parts is impassable and impenetrable. It's a barrier. They broke the barrier, which is why Columbus said, hey, this is a new world. Which is why he thought he was fulfilling prophecy, you know, breaking down that partition to bring us his God. They broke down their partition to bring us their God. And now they call us African Americans. And you think we crazy. But this is written in Atlantean history. But it's somehow linking up and keeps popping up. I mean, Columbus in his own records called Haiti Atlantis. So we know we're talking about a far west place. And you are indigenous to it. So this is your place and your history hidden in their folklore, even inside of Plato's history of Atlantis. For which reason the sea in those parts is impassable and impenetrable, because there is a shoal of mud in the way, because of all, all the destruction. And this was caused by the subsidence of the island, because it sunk. All this mud was there; they couldn't even pass over. It was only, and then now it's all this rough waters. It's only become, only in the 15th century, passable. And the Most High allowed them to come to do what? Cause destruction on the remaining Atlanteans, or, you know what I'm saying, I don't know how to say this word, autochthons or autochthons. I looked it up anyway. Autochthons, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Autochthons or something like that. But yeah, indigenous people. Let's not be fancy about this. Not black people, you know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about the seeds. I'm talking about understanding. You keep saying black, you're going to be wandering around in darkness, not knowing what the hell's going on. It's a curse. You're using Latin and English to describe you, and it doesn't describe you when you look it up. I don't care what the laws say. Black's Laws Dictionary and all that kind of stuff. You got to understand, this is a game. You got to get off there bored. You at least call yourself colored if you don't understand that you're indigenous here, or whatever the case is. And if you're just learning, this is real spill. You got the documents, you look it up. So, I think that's about it. For which reason the sea in those parts is impassable. So he's saying it is impassable, even at this time. It's the 4th century. 4th century BC. For which reason the sea in those parts is impassable and impenetrable, because there is a shoal of mud in the way, and this was caused by the subsidence of the island. That's written in Plato. That's written by Plato, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? And then you got a whole other thing from Socrates breaking it down. So I'll attach the docs, man. It's been about almost an hour and 45 minutes. Tried to make a 10-minute drop, but now we know where we're going. So I wanted to kind of give you, a little teaser, a little taste test into understanding. I'm actually kind of went out of the order I was going to go with. Because I don't have enough time to really kick it thoroughly like I want to. So I'm just going to pick it up probably next time. Come on. Yeah. Wait. Maybe I can get a part of it here. I mean, it's going to get deep. That's all I could really kind of tell you. That's going to get deep. But, when you pick it up, pretty much right here, I just kind of scroll down. It says Cataclysms 90. You can kind of jump ahead and you see where they start talking about Atlantis. Atlantans. You got the Atlantic Ocean. You're like, what's it named after? Atlantis. Okay. You start seeing them relate us to that a lot. It says the Canaanites or Kabils have been deemed parents of the Atlantes and Africans. They were skillful, powerful, and wicked, according to this author, same author, invented agriculture and arts, building cities, while the Sethites, who's the Sethites? You look it up, invented astronomy, letters, and dwelt in tents. Dwelt in tents. If the American Atlantes were antediluvian, meaning they were before the flood, they must have sprung from the Atlantes, Canaanites, kin of Moses. So they didn't say, Moses, a Canaanite, is saying that the Canaanites were kin to Moses, meaning that it's matching the biblical story of our relationship to each other. You know, we're all kinfolk. Oh man! Then it goes on. It says 19 it says in 1170 years, 1170 years after Adam, the egregori angels, or they're just